My parents bought a vacation home and posted, "Making memories with the people who matter." I wasn't in a single picture. I stayed quiet. A month later, they asked me to help furnish it. I said, "You built your place, let them finish it." By that evening, my phone was blowing up with angry messages. When my parents posted that caption under a carousel of sun-drenched family photos at their new lakeside vacation home, I was sitting in my apartment staring at the screen, wondering how a person could feel so present and so invisible at the same time. Every photo looked like it belonged in a brochure: glowing golden hours, wine glasses clinking, someone always laughing. There were photos of my brother helping our dad set up the grill, my sister lying in a hammock with her kids, my mom wrapped in a blanket on the deck watching the sunset. Even the family dog got more camera time than I did because I wasn't in any of them. Not one. And yet, I paid for 40% of that house. Not a single mention in the caption. Not a thank you. Not even a tag. Just nothing like creating memories with the ones who matter. I had been the one who found the property online when my parents were casually browsing and thought the idea of a vacation home sounded fun. I was the one who called the realtor, arranged the virtual tour, talked them through the loan pre-approval process. I even flew out there on my own dime to walk through it in person and check for issues. The septic was a mess. There was mold in the guest bathroom. The cellars were shady and almost backed out twice. If I hadn't stepped in, called in favors, pushed things forward, fronted my portion early, they would have lost it. My parents contributed 30%. The rest was split between my brother and sister, and let me be clear, they wired the money over after everything had already been arranged. They didn't attend one inspection, one planning call, one legal back and forth. It was like watching people arrive at a dinner party after you've already cooked everything, then listening to them argue about who gets to blow out the candles. So, I stayed quiet even after the closing, even after I heard from my aunt that my sister had been telling people our parents had bought it for us kids. I kept my mouth shut. I let them have their little version of the truth. But when that post went up, something shifted. Not just because they'd left me out of the photos, but because they chose that caption. It wasn't just a trip. It was a statement. 2 weeks later, my dad texted like nothing had happened. "Hey, we're heading back up this weekend. Can you help with the furnishing stuff? IKEA trip maybe, and we want to hit a couple higher-end places." It took me a few hours to reply. I thought about it. Thought about how I had mapped out the kitchen layout myself. How I had spent 3 nights arguing with the contractor about the flooring. How I had been treated like a co-owner when they needed something. But now that the fun part was here, I was suddenly a ghost. So I replied, "You made your home. Furnish it with them." That's all I said. By nightfall, the rage began. Missed calls, long texts, a passive-aggressive group message my mom sent that said, "It's really hurtful when people turn their backs on family for no reason." My brother sent me a thumbs-down emoji and didn't follow up. My sister accused me of being manipulative. My dad just wrote, "Well, very disappointing." I didn't respond, but I took screenshots. Everyone, it's funny how people show you exactly who they are the moment you stop serving them. I had spent months making that house a reality. They'd spent days turning it into a place I didn't exist, and they had no idea what was coming next. After I ignored the messages, the group chat went dead, like someone had shut the lights off in a room full of shouting people. But I knew that silence too well. It wasn't retreat. Who is strategy? I could already imagine the conversations happening behind the scenes. Someone would suggest just give her space. Another would say she's always been dramatic. And my mom would definitely bring up how I hold things in too long. A few days later, she sent me a Pinterest board. No message, just a link titled Lakeside Vibes for Fall. It was full of navy and cream color palettes, porch lanterns, throw blankets folded over tan chairs. Like nothing had happened, like I'd never been erased. That was the tone they always went for when guilt didn't work. Pretend it didn't happen and hope I'd fall back into place. I didn't open it. My brother was less subtle. He called me while I was working, didn't leave a voicemail, then texted, "Whatever this is, get over it. You're blowing it up." That's how he handled most things. Put the blame in your lap and call it a solution. A few more days passed, and then I saw it. My sister posted a story of her and my brother struggling to haul a box sofa onto the porch. The caption said, "No Laura this time, so I guess we're doing it the hard way." Oh, there was no tag, no wink, just a flat shot and a loaded sentence. Like they were proud to be proving something. They kept furnishing it badly. I watched as they made mistake after mistake. An outdoor love seat that was meant for indoors. A wall-mounted TV hung so low it looked like a fireplace screen. Fake plants in every room because no one wanted to drive back often enough to water anything. Then the problem started. The plumbing backed up after one of the kids flushed a toy down the guest toilet. There was a leak in the laundry room ceiling. They missed a payment on the property tax estimate because no one had set up the alerts. The neighbor left a typed note on their door about parking too close to his driveway. He threatened to call the county next time. And through all of that, they didn't call me. Not at first. Instead, I heard about it from my cousin Jonah, who texted me after seeing my dad at a birthday party. He said my name came up. I braced myself. Apparently, my dad had said I was being cold lately, that I had a thing about control, and that I was making a big deal out of a couple thousand. I paid over $200,000 for that house. I found it, protected it from falling through 3 times, and pushed it across the finish line. But now, I was being reduced to someone who was acting like she owned it. That was the moment I decided I wasn't going to be the quiet helper anymore. I went into the shared Google Drive we had used for the entire process. I pulled every file I had uploaded, contractor estimates, invoices I'd paid up front, bank transfers, inspection notes, appliance receipts, everything with my name on it came down. The only document I left was a single PDF, the ownership agreement with my 40% clearly outlined and initialed by all of us. I didn't say a word. I just let them notice it. 2 days later, my sister called. She didn't waste time. Told me they were short on cash. Said they maxed out their cards on the renovations, and my brother had taken out a personal loan. The property tax notice caught them off guard, and they were trying to avoid falling behind before the winter season. She asked if I could help carry it just until spring. I said no, not angrily, not emotionally, just no. There was a long pause before she hung up. Later that night, my mom left a voicemail. She said I was punishing the family, that I was choosing money over love. My brother posted something vague about selfish people hiding behind boundaries. My dad forwarded me an article about how siblings lose touch over pride. And just like that, I became the villain. But none of them saw what was coming. Not yet. After I told my sister no, everything changed. The fake concern stopped. The check-ins vanished. The group chat stayed quiet. No more emojis. No more quick question messages. It was like I'd been voted off an island I helped build. My brother unfollowed me on Instagram, then blocked me 2 days later. My mom went silent. My dad didn't even bother with the guilt trip this time. Just vanished altogether. That would have been fine, except suddenly I started getting vague texts from extended family. Hope everything's all right. So your sister the other day, she said you've been going through something. Your mom mentioned the vacation house. Anything you want to talk about, right? I knew what that meant. The rewrites had begun. I said nothing. Let them guess. Let them build their stories. Then I got a call from my cousin Heather. She doesn't usually get involved in family drama, but she called to ask if it was true that I was refusing to help maintain the house. I just laughed. She said she overheard my dad at a family barbecue, explaining to someone that Laura decided the house didn't matter to her anymore and that she's been acting distant since we all tried to include her. He actually used the word include 40%. I paid 40%. I was the reason they even had that house. But now, according to the version they were selling, I was the cold withholding one. The sibling who took a step back out of nowhere, the one choosing money over family. And just like that, I became a cautionary tale at every family get-together. Meanwhile, things started falling apart. Quietly at first, the repairs they'd ignored started stacking up. The plumbing leak returned. They tried to patch it themselves and ended up with mold in the laundry closet. My brother accidentally left the back door unlatched, and a raccoon got in, ruined one of the new rugs, and chewed through the pantry cabinet. The property taxes were higher than expected because they'd underestimated the area's valuation increase. And when winter rolled in early, they realized they hadn't winterized the pipes properly. It was a mess, a very expensive one, and still no apology. What made it worse was how stubborn they got about it. They started doubling down. My sister posted this long dramatic caption on Facebook about how family is about who shows up, not who signs checks, which wasn't even subtle. I had to stop looking at their posts entirely. Everyone felt like a public slap. Thanksgiving was the final confirmation. They hosted it at the vacation house, even though they were clearly struggling. My parents invited extended family. Photos went up that night. Plates of food, pumpkin candles, firewood stacked by the hearth. My place at the table was never mentioned. They had replaced me with aesthetic. Then 3 days later, my brother texted me. Hey, We need to talk about the property tax. It's due and no one else can cover it right now. No greeting, no explanation, no ownership, just a problem tossed in my lap. I replied, I already paid my share. It's in the agreement. He left me on read. Later that night, my sister sent me one of her long texts. It wasn't a request. It was a performance. She talked about how hard the last few months had been, how they were trying to make things work, how she believed I never meant to hurt anyone, and how maybe I could help just this once because they would have done the same for me. That was when I understood something I probably should have realized earlier. They didn't feel guilty. Not really. They just missed what I gave them, and they were starting to realize I wasn't coming back. After my sister's long, carefully worded text about how they were just trying their best, I didn't reply. I didn't even open it all the way. Just let the preview sit there on my lock screen. You used to care more than this. I stared at it for a minute, then let the screen go black. They wanted me to feel guilty. They needed that old version of me. The one who'd drop everything, fix their messes, fund their choices, and stay quiet about it. But that version of me was gone. A week later, a certified letter showed up. Not from the bank, not from the county, from a lawyer. My dad's. They were requesting a temporary reassessment of the ownership agreement, claiming my non-participation in property management. It felt unreal. They were actually trying to shrink my share of the house I helped find, fund, and build, just because I wouldn't play along anymore. I didn't call, didn't argue. I forwarded it to my attorney and carried on with my day. 3 days later, their lawyer backed off completely after reading the original agreement. Airtight. Ironically, I made it that way to protect us. But the part one couldn't shake wasn't the attempt. It was the fact that they even thought they could. This wasn't about family anymore. It was about control. And they assumed I'd be too sentimental or too ashamed to fight back. They were wrong. Then out of nowhere, I got a LinkedIn message from a woman I'd never heard of. A marketing friend of my sister's. She apologized for the random outreach and said she felt uncomfortable keeping quiet. She'd overheard my sister at a wine night telling people I had mental health issues, that I was punishing my parents, that I needed to feel in control. She said they were afraid I might sell my share and ruin the family's future. Her last line stuck with me. I don't know you, but you seem nothing like how she described you. Just thought you should know. I didn't reply, but I read it more than once. Then I logged off LinkedIn, deleted the app, and opened my savings spreadsheet. They'd always known I had money. That's why they weren't scared of turning me into the villain. They thought no matter what happened, I'd step in again. And right on cue, they tried. A bank called asking for my signature on a refinance for the vacation property, a loan I hadn't applied for. They'd attempted to move forward without me. The only reason it stalled was because the loan officer noticed the ownership language requiring joint consent. If I hadn't added that clause, it would have gone through. I felt tired, but also clear. This wasn't entitlement anymore. This was recklessness. I didn't confront anyone. I tightened my access permissions, removed every shared document, and filed a notice with the county registrar reinforcing my ownership and blocking any refinance attempts without written approval. Then I waited. Winter hit harder than anyone expected. A storm cut the power for 3 days. Pipes burst. Insurance covered some, not all. Floors warped, drywall soaked, and the furnace finally died. That's when the text started. My sister, are you seriously refusing to help? My dad, Laura, you have the means. You're choosing to let your family struggle. My mom left a voicemail I still haven't listened to. Cousins started sending me screenshots of family group chats. My sister calling me spiteful. My brother saying I was a ghost with a checkbook. My mom claiming I used to be kind. That night I called my lawyer and asked what it would take to sell my share. Tricky, but doable. He asked if I was sure. I said I wasn't. But I was. They thought I'd never walk away. But I already had. They just hadn't realized it. I didn't answer their messages, or their guilt-soaked texts, or the vague Facebook posts written for me. I let them talk to the space where I used to be. While they spiraled, I focused on valuations, investor emails, spreadsheets. Quiet steps in a direction they never imagined. Then things collapsed faster than I expected. My brother got laid off, no warning. My sister's husband landed in the hospital again. My parents started withdrawing from what was left of their retirement. The temporary investment they'd made into the vacation house? Gone. No renters, no value, no furnace. Not one apology. Not even close. They clung to pride and blamed me instead. My sister posted, Funny how the people closest to you can watch you struggle and stay silent. My brother shared a quote about people who only care when it benefits them. My mom cried to relatives about not recognizing who I'd become. But I hadn't changed. I just stopped sacrificing myself for people who believed I owed them everything. Then, out of nowhere, another woman messaged me on LinkedIn. She said she didn't want to get involved, but thought I should know my sister had been talking about me at a birthday party, calling me unstable, controlling, saying I'd ruined everything and planned to cut them off. I thanked her and logged off. That same week, the bank called. My parents had tried again to use the house for leverage without telling me. The only reason it didn't go through was because of the legal block I'd already put in place. That's when I knew they were desperate. The house wasn't a dream for them anymore. It was an anchor. And the only person who could save them was me. But they'd burned every bridge. By Friday, my lawyer had 3 real buyers. One offered full cash above value to close before the new year. I didn't accept, but I didn't decline. The next morning, I woke up to 5 missed calls from my mom. Then came a knock. My parents were at my door, first time I'd seen them in almost a year. My mom held pastries. My dad looked exhausted. They didn't even ask to come in. Finally, my mom said they'd gone to someone. A monk. He told them misfortune follows when you mistreat someone who gave from the heart, and that they needed my forgiveness. They weren't there to argue. They were there to surrender. They apologized in the hallway. My mom cried. My dad admitted he'd tried to turn the family against me, and I forgave them, but I didn't let them back into my life. Forgiveness isn't access. After they left, I stood there holding the pastries, unsure whether to laugh or throw them away. Their apology didn't bring satisfaction, just clarity. They weren't enlightened, they were desperate. Then things got weird. My sister emailed a starting fresh list with bullet points about rebuilding. My brother texted one word: truce. My mom started sending property listings like nothing had happened. Then came the letter from my dad. The furnace at the vacation house had died. Insurance wasn't helping, money was slipping. They asked for a temporary loan and promised to pay me back. That part snapped something in me. They owed me far more than money. By then, the buyer who didn't care about family drama was still waiting. I confirmed the sale. A week later, my share was gone. The deed changed. The wire cleared. It was over. They found out the usual way, by trying to make a move and realizing I wasn't on the board anymore. My brother called, sounding worn out. So you really sold it, he said. You really got the last word. He was wrong. It wasn't about the last word. It was the first time I chose myself completely. My mom left one final voicemail. She sounded tired. She said, "We thought forgiveness meant we'd get you back. We didn't know forgiveness doesn't mean we get to keep you. You gave more than any of us, and we gave you nothing but conditions. I hope you're okay." I am. The house still stands, but I heard they're trying to sell it quietly now. Not just because they can't afford it, but because no one wants to be there. The place feels heavy, like something was lost in it and never returned. They're right.